Hi everyone, my name is Lucy from Japan and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about the news of an alleged sexual assault by a famous Japanese comedian Hiroshi Matsumoto, which is currently a hot topic in Japan since the end of last year. My channel is a channel that talks about the Japanese imperial family. However, I believe that the coverage of his alleged sexual assault has some relation to the issue of the female succession to the Japanese imperial throne. My channel is not concerned with whether or not his sexual assault actually occurred, but rather what I'm most concerned about is the fact that some men with money and power in Japan think like Hiroshi Matsumoto. His way of thinking is a good example to explain why gender equality has not progressed in Japan. I do not believe that all men with money and power in Japan have the same thought as he does, but in the past, there have been many elderly male politicians who have disparaged women or said that women are childbearing machines. Recently, Seiji Kihara, Deputy Chief Cabinet Secretary in the Kishida administration, caused a stir when he had a child with his mistress in addition to his true wife and had two families. And the Bunshun magazine also reported some suspicions about the mysterious death of Kihara's wife's ex-husband, who died in 2006. And which resulted in his resignation from the position. It is said that Hiroshi Matsumoto also has close ties to politicians, particularly with the Liberal Democratic Party and the Japan Restoration Party, especially with the late former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. In my opinion, the reason why more than 80% of the Japanese accept a female emperor, Princess Aiko, but it has not been realized is because there are many men in the Japanese government who think like him, and these men who have the power to make political decisions are unconsciously resistant to a woman becoming the head of the state, even though there were 8 female emperors in the past. For more than 80% of the Japanese population, gender equality is getting common. So we believe that it is natural for Princess Aiko, the only child of the Emperor Naruhito and Empress Masako, to succeed the imperial throne regardless of her gender. But older male politicians believe that the emperor must be a male, which is completely different from the public opinion. One Diet member said that the issue of future succession to the imperial throne should be solved by allowing polygamy to the emperor so that emperor could have baby boy eventually. But he retracted his statement after being criticized by the people. However, it is interesting to note that a Diet member who believes that the imperial successor must be a man has a daughter as his successor if only daughters were born to him. Yuko Obuchi, daughter of Keizo Obuchi, the 84th Prime Minister, became a politician by succeeding her father's supporters and power base. And Hanako Jimi is also second-generation politician, and she is a daughter of Shozaburo Jimi, who had experience as a minister. They have inherited their father's fame and money and have become ministers by the grace of their parents. How would they feel if they could not succeed their father simply because they are women and are forced to pass everything to their infamous uncle? Perhaps these female second-generation politicians would say this is totally unfair and sexual discrimination and change the law immediately. But this is exactly what Japanese politicians are forcing Emperor Naruhito and Princess Aiko. I think they are the ones who should support Princess Aiko and change the law so that she can succeed her father's throne even if she is a woman, but so far they did nothing. In order for Japan to realize a female emperor, I think it is necessary to change the mindset of those who make decisions within the government, and a generational change may be necessary, but I believe that the most effective way to achieve this is through foreign opinion and pressure. So please, I would like to ask the foreign media to take interest in the issue of gender discrimination in Japan. Okay, now let me begin by explaining what the allegations of sexual assault by Japanese comedian Hiroshi Matsumoto were. I have left a link to the AFP news of December 28, 2023 in the description below for those who are interested. The title of the article is Japanese Comedian Denies Sexual Assault Allegations. One of Japan's most popular comedians denied sexual assault allegations published in a prominent magazine on Wednesday, his talent agency said, adding it was considering legal actions. There are no facts whatsoever in accusations published by weekly Shukan Bunshun against comedian and TV presenter Hiroshi Matsumoto, his talent agency said in a statement. The Bunshun report quoted two women as alleging Matsumoto, now 60, forced them into sexual activities at private parties at a Tokyo upscale hotel in 2015. Among the claims, one woman alleged forced oral sex, and others said she was forcibly kissed. The article seriously degrades the social reputation of Matsumoto. Yoshimoto Kogyo, the agency said the firm will lodge resolute protest against Bunshun, including over the way it persistently questioned and filmed the comedian in the lead-up to the report's publication. We are considering legal action, the statement said. When contacted by AFP, Yoshimoto Kogyo's public relations office declined to comment any further. Matsumoto is half of the comedy duo known as Downtown, a household name in Japan. Bunshun was one of the first publications to report as long ago as 1999 on a sex abuse scandal that rocked Japan's entertainment industry earlier this year. A boy band empire formerly known as Johnny and Associate admitted September its late founder had sexually abused young recruits over decades, leading to an organizational shakeup. This is what AFP reported. The AFP article does not go into the details of the case, but Bunshun reports that the two female victims who testified of sexual assault were not acquainted with each other and were similarly victimized at separate private parties. The party was arranged by a comedian named Kazuhiro Ozawa, who is a disciple of Hiroshi Matsumoto, who contacted the women via a message app. At first, he invites the women to party at a restaurant somewhere, but just before the party, he informed them that the main guest is a very famous person and it is difficult for him to come to a regular restaurant, so he changed the location to a hotel suite. The women were not told in advance who the main guest would be, and it was only when Hiroshi Matsumoto showed up about an hour later after the party started that they finally learned who the guest was. The women were reassured at first that they would be safe if the party was at a restaurant, only to have it changed to a private place just before the party. Also, the smartphone that the women had were confiscated by Ozawa in advance to prevent from taking pictures or videos for evidence or maybe asking for help. Even though the smartphones were confiscated by Ozawa and women could not check their message in real time, Ozawa sent messages to the women during the sexual assault as if he was concerned about the women, creating false evidence that the women did not say no. The women then stated, before the party with Hiroshi Matsumoto, Ozawa told the girls, if there is any lewd attitude toward Hitoshi Matsumoto, you may not be able to walk around here. This sounded like a threat to the women who were also involved in the entertainment business. Some on social media have criticized the women's testimonies as publicity were already 8 years ago and stunts or money grabbing, but they were threatened and until now have not dared to press charges. But last year in Japan, when the sexual assault of boys by Johnny Kitagawa came to light, some of the victims bravely came forward to show their faces and testified what happened. These women felt strongly that they could not leave the situation as it was after witnessing the fact that victims accusing Johnny Kitagawa and eventually the biggest entertainment empire in Japan, Johnny and Associate, collapsed, which was so encouraging and led them to testify this time. I'd like to add these informations. According to the testimonies of the women who were victimized, the alleged sexual assault occurred under these circumstances. In addition, what was most striking to me was what Hitoshi Matsumoto allegedly said to the women during the private party. According to the women's testimonies, he said things like, "Have my baby, and Japanese law is wrong. Why can I have many wives? Why can I have more than one wife?" In 2015, when these parties were held, Hitoshi Matsumoto was 52 years old, already married, and had a daughter who was about 6 years old at that time, and the victimized women were around 55 years old. It is quite creepy that Hitoshi Matsumoto is the one who asked the women he first met if she could bear his child. But surprisingly, he is an ambassador for Expo 2025 Osaka Kansai. And other comedians junior to Hitoshi Matsumoto have made statements on TV shows defending Matsumoto. According to the latest information, Hitoshi Matsumoto, through his agency Yoshimoto Kogyo, suddenly announced on the evening of January 8 that he will suspend his future activities, even though he is saying that Bunshun's report has no evidence. I guess he would also resign as the ambassador of Expo Osaka Kansai. I'm sure Bunshun will report more information on his alleged sexual assault in a future issue, but it is so disappointing to tell that this is a typical example of men in power in Japan who look down on women and do not treat them as a single human being. I'd like to report to you that Japan is such an outdated country when it comes to gender equality. That's all I'd like to say today. Thank you for watching and don't forget to like the video. If you'd like to know more truths of Japanese imperial family, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.